Yo, and how's it going, Apple Army? Welcome back to the Gaming Apple. So in today's video we're going to be talking about the new Mythic items and the Mythic items that have been changed in the current week 1 PTS. I know I'm a bit late in the week because I know tomorrow's PTS notes, well, patch notes come out for the PTS server, but I want to talk about these now because I actually feel like there's a lot to talk about with these Mythic items, and if there's any significant changes that I think need to be mentioned about them in regards to how they'll act in PvP, then I'll just make separate videos or include it in more videos in the coming weeks. But without any further ado, let's get right into it. So we'll start off with the new Mythic items first, because some really exciting new Mythic items here, and this kind of not sure what to make of some of them. So we'll start with the first one. Gaze of Syphilis. It's a heavy head. So straight away I would look at that and think, okay, heavy, not bad. Headpiece, that means I can't run a monster set like Balorg's, Troll King, Engine Guardian. You get my point. We can't run a two-piece monster set. So like with for example, Malacca, that was always a ring, or any other monster, any other Mythic item that wasn't a monster set, you could always run Balorg's, Engine Guardian, Troll King, those sort of sets with it. So I feel like already we're at a disadvantage in build creation-wise, just by it being a headpiece. Not that it's heavy. Heavy's fine. A heavy headpiece is better than a heavy shoulder piece, so this is still really fine. But the fact that it's a headpiece is what's a bit concerning for build diversity. But then it gives us 5,000 max health. 5,000 max health, fabulous, brilliant, amazing. You can't go wrong with 5k health, can you? Then 500 recovery. And this would have been great a patch or two ago, or even this patch. But next patch, they're reducing health recovery to put it in line, whilst in PvP, in line with healing received. And I believe healing received in PvP is now reduced to 60%. I think it was 50% for a while, and now in the Greymore patch they reduced it down to 60% reduction. So in reality, that 200 health recovery is going to look like 200 health recovery inside of Cyrodiil, because that's 60% reduction to healing received from health recovery. So not the greatest there, but still an addition on top of the 5,000 health, so you know, it's still a bonus. Then we've got 10,760 armor, and this is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. I'm not sure how much fortified gives you, but I'm pretty sure this is fortified like 1.4 or 1.5 times fortified, 1.5 times fortified. I mean, to have this in a one piece, it is phenomenal, honestly. And you got to think, where's the drawback? And the drawback is it reduces your block mitigation down to 0. And this is where my main concern comes in, because I've already have two issues with this set, right? My first issue being that it's a heavy monster set. No, sorry, it's a headpiece, so it takes up that monster set piece. That's my first main issue with this. My second main issue is, well, not a main issue, it's just you know, something that you got to pay attention to in general, and that's the fact that the health recovery won't be as strong in PvP, and that's what we're looking at. And now we don't get any block mitigation, and you got to think, yeah, 10,000 armor may sound amazing, right? But you know my current stam DK this patch, I have over 30,000 armor, right? And I'm not gonna have that and then have this as well and go to 40,000. No, I'll probably use this and replace a different set and stay around the 30k armor mark. But the difference is this patch, I can block, right? And blocking is so important. If I see a Dawnbreaker coming, if I see a Colossus ult coming, if I see massive blast moans about to hit me, like, you know those blast moans, even with 30k resistances, they're still hitting me for 7-8k. You know, they can still hit for 7-8k. And if you can't block that, they're going to hit you for 7-8k every single time. Not to talk about the Magcro synergy. Imagine if you get stuck in a Magcro ultimate where they have their synergy and their blast bones, and your block does nothing. So yeah, on a lot of, like on a stam den, on a stam DK, especially where you're holding your ground in the open, I don't feel like this will be a best in slot. Nor do I feel like this will be best in slot for a Mag DK, because Mag DKs rely on a lot of blocking. But for example, a build like a Stamblade that does a lot more rolling, they still block, but they don't do as much blocking. So I mean, you could probably get around it with a Stamblade, My main one probably would be a Stam Sork. A Stam Sork or a Mag Sork, I think. Because when you need to block, you can just streak out the way. And if you kind of element that playstyle into the set, where you can streak out the way, or teleport away on a Mag Blade or Stam Blade when you need to block, I mean, for the rest of the damage, it really is gonna up your survivability. But for a lot of builds like Stam DK and stuff, I don't see this being a best in slot, because the amount of damage that you can mitigate through blocking is unreal, and I think people are going to find that out very quickly. But I definitely don't think it's going to be a completely useless set. I think there'll be like a niche for it in PvP. I just don't think it's going to be a main PvP set. I don't see everybody running this. I don't feel like this is going to be the new Malacca where everybody's going to be running this. No, not for a second. But let me know what you guys think about that. I can already tell from talking to a few other YouTubers and a few other players that a lot of people think they're going to be running this on every build. I think that I'm barely going to be running this, so I'm curious to what you guys think. Obviously, we'll see when the server goes live. Moving on to the second new mythic piece then. It is called Harpener's Wading Kilt. So this is a medium-like piece. Not bad straight away. Not bad at all. It's not blocking anything. If anything, somebody might want this as a heavy, but being medium, you don't get any drawbacks from having medium, so medium-like piece, you're not blocking any sets or build creation, so great so far. Then we're moving on to the actual set itself. So dealing direct damage grants a stack of Hunting's Focus for 1 minute. For 1 minute, this is viable in PvP so far. You know, that's not too short of a timer. I can live with that. Up to 10 stacks max, cool. Over a minute we can comfortably get up 10 stacks, because you gain 1 stack every 1 second, so in 10 seconds we can have that up. Out of a minute, I mean, keeping that up, the uptime on that can be pretty good. Each stack of Hunter's Focus increases your critical chance by 119 and your critical damage by 2%. So that brings us up to 1,190 crit chance, which I think is about 5% crit chance. I think between the 5 to 6%. Don't hold me in that one. I think that's where we're looking at, 5-6% crit chance. And then crit damage is 10%. Obviously, 2 times 5. That's easy to work out. So yes, if it was to stop there, I would be running this on most classes. I will not lie to you. If that was to stop right there, this would be a really strong set. But it goes on. Taking damage removes 1 stack of Hunter's Focus. Removing Harpener's Wade Kilt removes all stacks of Hunter's Focus, as you would expect. But taking direct damage removes 1 stack. And I mean, if I'm 1vxing, right? If I'm Xing, I'm taking direct damage all the time. How on earth am I going to stack this up? Now, the way I could see this being used is on a gank build. Right, on a gank build where you're not really taking damage, you can light attack from stealth, or you're a snipe build, so you never get in hit, so you're gradually increasing your critical damage and crit chance. So those builds that are in stealth, in hiding, doing massive damage, you know, that kind of sneaky gank kind of playstyle, I think this could really work and up your damage. And I don't doubt that I'll see gankers running this, right? But for me, as a 1vxer on my Stam DK, especially, like, yeah, stuff that doesn't go invisible, well, to be honest, when you're 1vxing on any class, you're taking damage all the time. So this isn't, sorry, pardon me, this isn't going to be viable in its current state for 1vxing, or in general being in open world where everybody's always hitting you. Not much more I think I can say about that, but I think it's definitely got its niche mark for gankers, maybe even bombers, etc. Snipe builds. I think we'll see it in there, so it definitely isn't going to be completely useless. Moving on then to Death Dealer's Feat. This is a ring, already straight away, ring, fine, got no issues there. Gain a persistent stack of escalating feat every 2 seconds you are in combat. Up to 10 stacks max Each stack of escalating feat increases your maximum stamina, health, and magic by 150. You lose a stack of escalating feat every 4 seconds you are out of combat. So that 4 seconds out of combat, I don't see as an issue, purely because if you're Xing and stuff, you're always in combat. Actually, trying to get out of combat in ESO is more difficult when I try to find myself when I'm not even attacking anybody, trying to get on my mount because the game says I'm in combat. So I don't see that being an issue at all for like being able to proc that comfortably. That'll do itself very easily. Yeah, 20 seconds you'll have that up to its max. But it only gives 1,500 health, magic, and stamina at max. And I don't see myself really running this. I think maybe a max stat build might. Maybe on a mag sork, I don't know. Maybe a mag sork might want to try this. Or a mag blade, somebody really pushing their magicka in like the 50Ks, 40-50Ks. But in general, I don't really see this being used, because in comparison to the other mythic items, I just don't see it being that strong. I think if this was not even 2k, if this was like 2.5k health, stamina, magic, then I would start contemplating putting this in and using this, because 2.5k of each resource, now that would be strong. That would feel like a mythic. Maybe a bit too strong, maybe 2k, 2.2k, but I think 1.5k is a bit too low. Obviously, the PTS isn't over yet. I expect some tweaks on this. I think through the PTS server, they'll probably notice that nobody's using this, or very few people are running this. But yeah, I honestly don't see this as becoming the next Malacca. Definitely not. Okay then. So the final mythic item that they're introducing into this patch is Shapeshifter's Chain. This is a necklace, and like I said before, a jewelry piece. Got no issue with this coming in. You can add this into the build diversity very easily. So it reduces the cost of your transformation of ultimate abilities by 15%, and while transformed, increases your max health, magic, and stamina by 1,216. This effect occurs for werewolf transformation, blood scion, so for the vampires, and the bone Goliath transformation for necromancers. So this is going to be a bit annoying, because I feel like werewolves are already in werewolf form enough as it is. Making that cost reduction by 15%, I feel like werewolves are definitely going to be running this set, and then you give them more max stats whilst they're in werewolf mode, 1,216 health, magic, and stamina, when werewolf really does focus on building into max stats. I can definitely see this being played, although werewolves are in werewolf mode a lot anyway, so I don't know if they'll care too much about the 15%, but I mean, the build-up time for them will be nicer. I more see this being useful, in all honesty, for vampires. So for the blood scion, now this doesn't necessarily have to be for magicka, right? I could see this being a useful ring on a Stamplar, because the issue for a Stamplar running as a vampire and trying to run this ultimate, right, is the fact that it's so expensive and it takes so long. When you've got other ultimates like Dawnbreaker and the I forget the name of it, the sweep, what's it called? Yeah, you know what ultimate I'm on about. The just a big AoE sweep that they do for 7-2 ultimate. I mean, they're so cheap and so easy to come by and do a lot of damage. So Blood Scion and in the vampire kind of playstyle for Stamplar has been kind of a very big niche, but reducing that price down by 15% and then giving us additional resources, so an extra 1,200 max stamina and health whilst in it, I definitely think some people are going to be running this, definitely on Templars, more so on the Magpla side, but definitely I can see this being run on a Stamplar side. Not so much on any other classes, because Templars have great pressure, additional pressure to go with this. Maybe a Mag DK, maybe, because you get a lot of resources, but again, if you're running this on a Mag DK, you've reduced your ultimate cost, so you don't get as much resources back when you press it, so it goes both ways. But I can see this being run on a Templar, but in a niche capacity. I don't in any way see this being OP. And then for the Goliath transformation ultimate, I mean, for those spam bash builds, it'll be nice for them just to have cheaper ultimates, and for tanks that use this ultimate, you know, they rotate this ultimate to stay alive. I think for tanking and bash builds, this could definitely be useful. Definitely. But again, I think it's on the niche side. I don't think it's gonna be majorly effective whatsoever. And that's just my opinion. Obviously, this for the new Mythic Items, guys. Let me know what you think about these down in the comment section below. I'm really curious to know what you think about these. And obviously, as the new PTS is coming, all the new weeks come by, and the PTS patch notes change, I'll go through any changes, etc. if I see that there's been any major ones. Okay, so moving on to the mythics that we already own, and that we already have, and the changes coming to them. So, Bloodloads Embrace, they're increasing the magic granted from this set to 1,605, up from 1,535, so that's a 70 increase in magicka. And if you don't know what this set already does, basically, the Bloodloads Embrace, when you dealing damage with bash attack, places a persistent, uncleansable, which is cool, can't be cleansed, blood curse on an enemy. You can only have one blood cursed enemy at a time, which is good. It's a balancing act. If you could put this on, say, 5 people, it'd be broken, like really broken. And then dealing an additional bash damage moves the curse onto a different player, so it's really easy to switch it around. Obviously, you guys already know this; it's been in patch. But now, what it does, and then blocking an attack from a blood curse enemy restores that 1,600 stamina magicka now every 1 second. So we're getting a 70 magicka increase, up from 1,535 to 1,605 magicka when you block an attack. And every 1 second this can occur. Now, with Malacca being nerfed, which we'll get onto in a bit, I maybe more Mag Plus and Mag DKs we'll see running this, because I know Mag Plus do a lot of blocking, Mag DKs do a lot of blocking, and their magic sustain can be hard, especially on the Mag DK side. But I don't know, if the patch comes and they find themselves not wanting to run Malacca anymore because of the nerf to Malacca, then we might see this set more. But in no way do I see this set as being OP. Again, I see this being a very niche set. I think honestly it gives Mag DKs the ability to 1vx if used correctly, because Mag DK's issue is high skill cost. So getting 1,600 magic in every second extra, I genuinely believe this set, in the right hands, can be used as long as they have the damage in other areas, as a part to make Mag DK a viable 1vx class. But then I'm stretching, I'm grasping there for a really strong Mag DK to take this on. But yeah, let me know what you think about this. I'm not too sure about this set. I don't think we'll see much of it, but then again, I might be wrong. And more Mag DKs, Mag Plus might start using this. Okay. Moving on then to Malacca Band of Brutality. So this set now increases your damage done by 16%, but reduces your critical damage done by 50%, rather than increasing your damage done by 25% and making you unable to deal critical damage. And this is a ring, again, so easy to put on for build diversity. Obviously, you all know what Malacca is, how easy it is to run. But originally, I thought the 9% damage reduction was going to be really bad. But the more I think about it, right, and looking at this, going from 25% to 15%, yeah, that's a big nerf, right? But Malacca was really overperforming anyway. So whether or not it'll still be viable, I think it still will be. And now we get critical damage. Admittedly, the critical damage is nerfed by 50%. But you will get critical damage. So on Malacca builds, you usually only have about 16 to 20% crit anyway, very low crit chance. But that crit chance was never being used with the 25% crit damage, no, 25% increased damage. And what I will say is that this new 16% increased damage done will go for all your attacks. So increases your damage done by 16%. That goes for your initial white damage that you'll see, or an exclamation mark damage that you see pop up, and that increases that damage done by 16%. But what you may not know is critical damage goes off of your base damage. So you would be increasing your critical damage done as well by 16%, because your increased base damage is going up by 16%, which means the damage that crit damage can go off of has been increased by 16%. So then reducing the amount of crit damage done by 50% isn't necessarily going to be a 50% nerf. It's going to be more in the 30% area. Because I don't know exactly where it'll land, because I haven't done the math on it. This is just in my head math. But say I didn't have Malacca on, right? If I didn't have Malacca on, my damage would be at 100%, right? And then say if your crit damage increased your damage done by 100%, that new damage would be 200% damage done. Now, with Malacca, what I get is, instead of having 100% damage done, I would have 116% damage done. But instead of your crit damage going up to 200%, what you would see is it going up by 115%, and now you'd have 116%. You'd have 150% damage working off your base 116% damage done. So when you think of it like that, and obviously my math is going to be off here, it's not going to be exact by no means. This is a very generic way of looking at it, right? But when you think of it like that, it isn't going to be 50% decrease to crit damage. And even if it was, it would still be pretty viable, because you'd still be doing crit damage to make up for that 9% loss of damage done. So when you take all that into consideration, that 9% damage lost isn't gonna look too bad, because now we have crit damage, and crit damage working off 16% increased damage done. I hope I haven't confused you there, guys. If you want me to do another video going into all of the maths behind this, I can. It'll take me a while to prepare that video, but I can do that. I can work out all the different numbers, percentages for damage, crit damage, and how Malacca would actually look. And I don't think that this is going to be nerfed that much, in all honesty. Especially with pressure builds, where you have a lot of different damages going off all at once. I think that 9% damage will be mitigated by your crit damage. So I still think Malacca is going to be a best in slot. I do. I think Malacca is going to be the go-to mythic item. And I mean, I don't think necessarily for every build, as I don't think it's going to be as polarizing as it once was, but I think it's going to be pretty close. And I think it's going to be still pretty bloody powerful. But that's just my take on it. I'm very curious to know what you guys think of this, and what I've said down in the comment section below. I might have been very wrong with how I've explained that, and if I am, please let me know. But what I've said, to me, makes sense, and I hope it does to you too, because I've tried to explain that in the best way I know how. But yeah, let's move off Malacca then, and move on to the Ring of the Pale Order. So, Ring of the Pale Order, what it initially did was, what I'll do is quickly pull this up. Right. So Ring of the Pale Order would restore 18% of damage you dealt as health, up to a maximum of 2,750 health per attack. You cannot be healed by anyone but yourself whilst having this ring on. Now this set increases the amount of healing done by 20% of your damage done, up from 18%, so a 2% healing buff. But then this set now loses 4% of its value per group member you are with. This means if you are alone, it will stay 20%, but reduce to 8% if you're in a group with 3 players, and 0% when you're with 5 players or 5 or more players. And then remove the healing cap from this set, so no longer that 2,500 healing cap. I don't think this set will be really viable, because it never was before, because not many people were really reaching that healing cap anyway. And 18% from 20%, I don't think that's going to make people want to run it instead of Malacca. Admittedly, the healing that you didn't receive from teammates, I mean, if you're a good player, you didn't really need that. But now when you are with group mates, when you are grouped, you get a massive reduction to healing received through it. So I just don't see this being viable. Maybe a few builds. Maybe you pair this with Briarheart, then on a Stam Stalk or something, and you might see this coming through quite nicely. But honestly, I don't really see this set being used. Let me know what you think about this set in the comment section down below, again, guys. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on it. But yeah, that pretty much covers all the mythic sets, all the new mythic sets, all the changes to current mythic sets as of PTS week 1. But I don't think much of this will be changing throughout the rest of the patches. I think there'll be some changes, definitely, and if there's any major ones, then I'll do a follow-up video on this for you guys, or bring it into some separate videos. But without any further ado, guys, if you did like this video or found it helpful in any way, then please make sure to smash that like button. Make sure to drop a comment, because you know I love to hear from you guys, and there's a lot to comment about here. I'm really curious to know what you guys think about this. So yeah, definitely make sure to drop a comment, and then subscribe if you haven't already to become part of the Apple army, and stay up to date with all my latest content here at the Gaming Apple. We do build videos, gameplay, montages, tip videos, and then just we talk about different ESO PvP related things. So if you want to stay up to date with all of them, then make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Without any further ado, guys, I love you all, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out. Bye bye, guys.